from West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Support for the Legislature Today is provided by the following.
West Virginia University, online at wvu.edu. AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Online at aarp.org/WV. The West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission, working to double the degrees produced annually in our state by 2025 through increased opportunities for West Virginians to earn the credentials today's economy demands. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Online at wvhtf.org.
At the Legislature today, two contentious pieces of legislation see votes on the House and Senate floors. Both passed by a slim majority, with some lawmakers even crossing party lines in the process. And a special report tonight on the state of West Virginia's roads and bridges and ailing infrastructure coming up on the Legislature today. Good evening, I'm Ashton Mara. Members of the House of Delegates spent nearly 5 hours debating a bill that would make West Virginia a right-to-work state. The union-opposed measure drew hundreds in the galleries to watch as lawmakers took the controversial vote. Here's a look at just some of the more than 30 speeches given in the House today.
Predominantly, for the most part, we genuinely want what's best for West Virginia. I believe that with all my heart. I understand failure. Let's work on roads and fail and maybe succeed. Let's work on jobs and fail and maybe succeed. Let's work on PEIA and fail, but maybe save somebody's benefits. Let's work on drugs with the chair of a new committee and fail, or save somebody's life. But I don't understand this right to work bill. I've studied it in my room. I've listened to you speak. Please don't listen to me today. Don't. Some people from Harrison County have made it clear nobody's listening to me anyway. But I assure you this right now. Don't listen to the 35 speeches that are going to be given today either if you don't want to. And I'm not being disrespectful. There's enough of us putting people down around here and talking about one another. I don't need to add to the pile. But what I am going to ask you to do before we vote is talk to yourself and listen to yourself and ask yourself the questions. Are we that afraid to fail? Are we that afraid to fail that by working with one another, 100 of us, we might actually succeed?
We've not seen one study this will bring any job to the state of West Virginia. Not one. And when I read the West Virginia University study, I think it said 0.040. 0.040. Is that enough to sacrifice the wages of the hardworking men and women of this state? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to stand for the coal miners of southern West Virginia, the working class, the working middle class of West Virginia. But yet we see Senate Bill 1 in this chamber before we've even reached the crossover day. We got to rush it through, hurry up, we need it. But yet we've not seen any other jobs bills. We've not seen any PEIA bills. We've seen, there's a difference, ladies and gentlemen, between politics and policy. This is politics, this ain't policy.
I look today at this bill, which is called the Workplace Freedom Act. And I think we all know what it should be called. Workplace Freeloader Act. I've kind of struggled to figure out how do we explain what this is, what we really have here. We have today, all the workers are treated the same. They're treated fairly. They're on the bus. They're all on the bus and they've all paid their fare to be on the bus. If this bill passes, some of the people on the bus are going to get on for free. And the rest of the people on the bus have got to pay for them. That's it. It's very simple. And if you try to get on the bus, right, and the bus driver says, I need you to pay the fare, he can get sued for punitive damages. That's what this does.
0.4%. If you take that number, apply it to our current jobs that we have in West Virginia, available from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 783,900. And I'm 29 years old, so let's just say 30 years. That way, I don't have any children yet. 30 years, I should have children that are looking for work. I hope. 30 years, we would expect at an increase of 0.4%, compounded continuously, that 783,900 jobs would turn into 883,845 jobs. That's 55 jobs short of 100,000 over 30 years. No, this isn't a silver bullet, but that's pretty darn good. I'll take it. That doesn't mean that's the only thing we need to do. That doesn't mean it just stops here. And it doesn't mean we're guaranteed those jobs. Because if we don't take actions to fix the other problems with our state, that extra 100,000 jobs will simply be offsetting jobs that we lose. So we do need to do this, but it's also a reason why we need to do more.
The gentleman from the 48th this morning made up my mind. And he said something to the effect, we need to work at something even if we fail. We need to try something even if we fail. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have seen in the last X number of years is not working. Now, this is not going to be the silver bullet, as somebody mentioned a while ago. It will not be. By itself, it is not. But it's a piece of the puzzle, perhaps. A piece of the puzzle, perhaps. And quite frankly, as I try to figure out whether I'm going to punch red or green, and I'm going to punch green, I come to that conclusion on the basis of doing nothing. Status quo is unacceptable.
We have capacity in this state to do more. We have capacity, and we must do more. We must do more. We are at the bottom of the list in per capita income. So whatever we're doing right now, as the gentleman from the 7th so eloquently stated, isn't working. I think workplace freedom is a good thing. I think it will be a good thing. I think union accountability will go up, and I think unions will be fine. If I thought unions would go away, I wouldn't vote for the bill. But that's not what I heard from the Secretary-Treasurer of the Teamsters. When I asked him if he operated in South Carolina, where the governor, and this baffles me completely, said we don't encourage unions coming here. I would never say that. I don't believe it. But I do believe in workplace freedom.
Members of the House approved the measure in a narrow 54-46 vote, with 10 Republicans joining the Democratic minority in their opposition. Governor Tomblin issued a statement following the passage of the Right to Work bill. He said, quote, "I remain committed to growing West Virginia's economy, but I do not believe right to work legislation is the best way to do that," end quote. He says lawmakers should focus on creating an educated workforce and combating substance abuse in order to improve the state's business climate. Across the rotunda in the Senate chamber, lawmakers also debated a divisive bill, one that has had the chamber split along party lines all week. After 5 procedural votes in 4 days, senators took their final vote on a repeal of the state's prevailing wage this morning. The wage is the hourly rate and benefits paid to workers on state construction projects. Here is some of the debate from the floor.
So, Mr. President, as a legislator, I'm concerned about the uncertainty in the future of the workforce and their ability to maintain a qualified wage to feed their families. But I'm truly worried when the school building authority in these counties put their money up in the future to build these facilities and other buildings in West Virginia, will they be built to last?
I can't, for the life of me, understand why this state, through this body, and through the body on the other end of the Capitol, has legislated wage rates paid to individuals working for contracts outside of our state agency at high rates when we haven't taken care of our own public employees. It's time that this body take care of our public employees first. We represent the people at home, all of the people, not 1 or 2%, but all of the people at home. It's wrong. We've done this the wrong way for too many years, over 50 years. It's wrong.
The real source of my anxiety relates to our continued waste of valuable legislative time on divisive public policy issues which hold no real potential in addressing the very serious problems which face our state and people. In my home county of Fayette, our public school system stands on the brink of systemic failure. Our county revenues are spiraling down as a result of continued bankruptcies and layoffs in the mining industry, and we may soon be closing a 120-year-old institution of higher education, which will most probably cripple the regional economy of the Upper Kanawha Valley. At the state level, we must find ways to address our projected $350 million budget deficit, plug our PEI funding shortfalls, and hopefully begin the process of addressing our deteriorating roads.
Legislation, when passed, has consequences. So I ask you on this very serious matter to ask yourself some questions. What if we are doing the wrong thing? What if the passage of this legislation does reduce our state wages, which is already very low? What if the passage of this legislation hurts working families? What if we're doing the wrong thing? And for that reason, I ask that we reject this legislation and admit that we are capable of addressing issues that are surrounding this and very important.
When the taxpayers' money is taken from the citizens by the state or by a county or a municipality and put to work for a public purpose, our current law, which I hope we are about to repeal, enshrines the principle that we're not going to be great stewards of that. We are not going to fulfill our duty for the taxpayers to get the best bang for the available buck with their money taken from them involuntarily, because we are going to require that it be used to pay inflated wages more for a public project than that same person will make if he's working on building a church or a private building, a garage. That's how we become bad stewards of the taxpayers' money.
What if this moves our state forward? What if we build more schools? What if we improve our infrastructure projects? What if we move from last to first? We want to win in West Virginia. We want to be winners. We don't want to have the failing school systems and the infrastructure systems that we have in Fayette County. We don't want that any longer, Mr. President. We want to win.
Sure, we all want to win. Sure, we want West Virginia to be the best, but if we don't face our real problems, we're never going to win. If we continue to put on the backs of working people our strategy to win, that's a losing strategy. I've said in this chamber many times, if we don't put money in the hands of working people, our economy is never going to move forward. We can make up stories about how this is going to allow us to build more buildings or build more schools, but it's not going to have any effect. We're hypocrites. We hold up one study from a professor and say this is gospel, and we discount the other one.
In my opinion, the real war on the working families in this state is the lack of jobs. And it's also maintaining the status quo of the past, Mr. President. And I'm not for keeping it that way. It's time that we move forward and do right by all the citizens of the people, not having government picking the winners and losers, but leveling the playing field and letting the good West Virginia people prove to themselves and the world that we are the best and we can do it better than anybody else.
The Senate approved the bill to repeal the prevailing wage on a party line vote, 18-16. Let's head to southern West Virginia now, where we meet more members of the West Virginia Legislature.
Mark Maynard was elected to the West Virginia Senate in 2014 to represent the 6th Senatorial District. A Republican, he's from Wayne County. Senator Maynard chairs the Committee on Enrolled Bills and serves as the Vice Chair of the Natural Resources Committee. Phyllis White is a Democrat from Mingo County. She was appointed to her seat in 2016 by Governor Tomblin to replace Harry Keith White, her husband, who resigned. Delegate White represents the 21st House of Delegates District. A resident of Gilbert, White retired from her position as principal at Gilbert Elementary School in December after spending 32 years working in the state's education system. Jeff Eldridge was elected to represent the state's 22nd House of Delegates District in 2004 for one term and was again elected to the seat in 2012. A Democrat, he's from Lincoln County. Eldridge serves as the minority chair of the House Agriculture Committee. Mike Moffitt is a Republican from Putnam County. He was elected in 2014. Delegate Moffitt represents the state's 22nd House District.
As the House and Senate debated the right to work and prevailing wage bills this week, Democratic members of both chambers urged the GOP majority to take on more pressing issues, like funding improvements to the state's critical roads and bridges. There are over 7,000 bridges in West Virginia, and in the course of your day, you likely cross a few of them. The Division of Highways employs dozens of inspectors who closely monitor the condition of each. But what do those inspectors see when they go out into our communities? Beth Voorhees went on an inspection last fall to find out.
I-64 westbound just outside of St. Albans. Every bridge in West Virginia has a story to tell, and it's up to bridge inspectors to find out what that story is.
Fracture critical, if this falls or it get a fracture in it, then this whole span could come down. So these are inspected every 2 years.
Bridge Inspector Don Burford and his teammate Harry O'Connor are giving this small bridge a careful once-over. They pick and prod at the girders, listening and looking to see what kind of condition it's in. Tracy Brown oversees bridge inspectors in District 1, a 5-county area. There are over 1,200 bridges in his district, 600 in Kanawha County alone. Brown says this bridge, taking traffic into St. Albans, was built sometime in the mid to late 1960s, and these inspectors are looking at the wear and tear it's received over the years.
The inspectors are looking for any kind of deficiency in the structure. You know, on one end of it, something that you definitely wouldn't want to see would be a fatigue crack in the steel, where the steel's opened up. They're looking for cracks in the welds, and then on the other side, they're looking for any delaminated concrete in the substructure units, the piers and abutments. Looking for cracks in the deck, things that wouldn't be safety concern, but there's still a deficiency in the bridge. They're looking for just any kind of deficiency, anything that would rate that bridge lower, and they take that information, that data from this inspection, and they compile an inspection report. They have to write a report when they get back to the office and then assign a condition code rating that the federal government outlines, exactly defines what those are, and it will get an overall rating, and that will determine if it's structurally deficient or functionally obsolete and things like that. We treat each bridge we've got like our family's crossing, because somebody's family is crossing that bridge. And we take the safety of the public very, very seriously. That's what it's all about for us. That's why we exist. And we have found things, and if there is any question whatsoever, we close the bridge or we post a bridge. All our bridges are safe. If they're not safe, we make them safe by posting or closing or replacing and things like that.
On December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge crossing the Ohio River at Point Pleasant collapsed as the bridge was full of vehicles at rush hour, killing 46 people. This accident is why bridges are now inspected on a regular basis. The I-bar chain suspension bridge was built in 1928. It was a defect in a single I-bar that brought the bridge down. The tragedy led to the Federal Bridge Inspection Program to take a scheduled view of the nation's bridges. The state pays for the inspections, but the federal government reimburses 80% of the cost. For all of the talk about this nation's crumbling infrastructure, Jimmy Reston, the chief engineer with the West Virginia Department of Transportation, stands behind the condition of all of the state's bridges and the workers who maintain them.
West Virginia's bridges are in excellent shape. We monitor them as best we can. The statistics are what they are. The terms structurally deficient, functionally obsolete, a little bit misleading. That's a formula term. Functionally obsolete usually means that it's under width a little bit for the roadway. Structurally deficient would mean maybe it's posted for a certain weight limit. But those bridges are inspected annually. They're monitored, they're evaluated, the posting is kept up to date. We always are working very hard to eliminate posted bridges in the state. It seems like we'll gain a little bit and then we'll lose a little bit. So it's just that way.
As for this two-lane bridge crossing Interstate 64 in St. Albans, it looks a little rusty and weathered and could use a new coat of paint, but it's going to be replaced. This section of Interstate is going to be expanded to 3 lanes soon. A new bridge will be built to cross it using upgraded construction materials and design. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Beth Voorhees.
Art Kirkendall is a Democratic senator from Logan County. He represents the state's 7th senatorial district. Senator Kirkendall was appointed to his seat in 2011 and won election in 2012. Joshua Nelson was elected to the House of Delegates in 2012. A Republican, he's from Boone County and represents the 23rd House of Delegates district. Delegate Nelson serves as the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. He's a pilot in the 130th Airlift Wing and a former Marine. Rupi Phillips represents the state's 24th House of Delegates district from Logan County. He was elected to his seat in 2010 and is a Democrat. Ralph Rodegario is a Democrat from Logan County. He was elected in 2006 and served through 2010. He won re-election to his seat in 2014 to represent the state's 24th House of Delegates district.
Tomorrow on our show, a special report about a program on the west side of Charleston that helps children returning to school deal with traumatic events they're experiencing at home. From a parent's arrest to substance abuse, Charleston area law enforcement and teachers team up under the Handle with Care program. That's tomorrow on our show. This has been the Legislature Today. I'm Ashton Mara. Thanks for joining us.
Support for the Legislature Today is provided by the following.
West Virginia University, online at wvu.edu. AARP West Virginia, your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Online at aarp.org/WV. The West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission, working to double the degrees produced annually in our state by 2025 through increased opportunities for West Virginians to earn the credentials today's economy demands. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Online at wvhtf.org. From West Virginia Public Broadcasting,